Oh, salud de Maverick.
I was getting ice and water, and he recognized me, so he said hi. Very nice guy. Anyway, off to work. Going to Demolition Ranch again. All right, so our water tank just showed up. This is for the rain collection system. This is going to go in the back over there.
I'm Ron with Harvested Rain Solutions, and this is a 1,000 gallon poly tank. It's smaller than what we normally install, but will be suitable for this building.
Yeah, for sure.
Your building has about 576 square feet of roofing, and at about 0.6 gallons per inch of rain on a square foot. That's going to equate to about 300 to 350 gallons per inch of rain that falls on here.
Excellent.
So with just 3 inches of rain, which you know we can get in half an hour around here, this tank would be full.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So very fast.
So what's the math again?
It's 0.623 gallons per inch of rain on a square foot. So if you've got
5/8 of a gallon.
5/8 of a gallon roughly. If you've got a 1,000 square foot roof, you'll get about 600 gallons off of it. Most houses are bigger than that, so most of the systems we put in are designed for potable water in a house.
Yep.
And they're going to fill those tanks generally in 10 to 18 inches of rain. The tanks are generally sized to last about 10 months of household usage.
Is that the overflow there?
This is the overflow. Okay. Right now it's just capped off. There's a pipe that comes down here, but the pipe's kind of fragile while we're under construction, so we're just going to cap it off to keep the bugs out.
Cool.
And there's an inlet basket on the other side. The water will drop down off of the downspouts and fill the tank.
Perfect. Perfect. They got the sound fixed right as he was done too.
All right, so the overflow, you're going to leave it capped?
I'm going to leave it capped for now, just so that we can wrestle it around on and off.
Oh, okay,
the pad
but
as
once
needed.
it's in place.
There'll be a silver pipe coming down, turn out, and that'll drop the excess water off the side of the slab away from the building.
So this is a 1,000 gallon tank?
Yep.
All he's going to have is a sink in here.
That's right.
How long do you think that'll last?
We'll probably also have like a faucet outside for washing stuff off too.
We used to have a 1,000 gallon outside of our shop we used for washing vehicles. It was hooked to about a 2,000 square foot roof. It constantly overflowed.
Really?
We'll have a gauge on the side of here once the project is complete. That'll show you what the water level is on the inside. It's counterweighted.
Yeah, I was thinking same kind of thing. Have a hose outside where we could wash vehicles off or whatever.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice to have this big tank for that.
Absolutely.
For sure.
This will be equipped with a pump on the inside that will pressurize the water, so it'll be just like using a hose on a property that has a well.
Cool.
And it'll automatically fill up every time it rains.
So we just set it over there by hand, right? It's not very heavy.
kind of roll it around. These tanks normally have kind of a waxy finish with scratches from the yard, so we kind of did a brushed finish with a sander, and hilariously these vinyl stripes cost more than the tank. But
Really? I was wondering what
about 4 hours to put on.
What are
it's
these
the same
for?
sign vinyl like you'd put on a vehicle.
Gotcha.
Should be
Just
good
for decoration?
Yeah.
That pump that you plan on putting on here.
Yes.
How much PSI is that going to pump?
65.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yep. It uses about 1,100 watts when running, so it'll run on pretty much any small generator.
Okay, good. Well, hopefully we'll have solar, but we don't know yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll run off of I've run them off of 2,000 watt inverters, 3,500.
All right. How do people find you?
I'm at harvestedrainsolutions.com.
And you do big stuff, little stuff?
Mostly big stuff. Mostly whole home potable and ranch. So what we call ranch residential.
So if this was drinking, if this was for drinking, what would you do different?
So the only thing we would add is a UV treatment panel. So you're typically going to run it through a sediment filter, carbon filter, and then an ultraviolet light. And you expose the bacteria and anything else, viruses that are in there, to UVC light, and that neutralizes them. So we don't like to say it kills them because they are still there. They're still present, just like they are in milk or drinking water, honestly. But they cannot reproduce, and the reproduction is what makes us sick.
All right, well, let's get it in place.
All right.
Well, not technically in place because we don't have the building done, but let's get it close to where it's gonna finish.
Best way probably to tip it up and kind of roll it.
All right. Well, somebody's feeling strong today.
Who? Are you just saying it because I look big, or the shirt?
The shirt. It's the
Strong
shirt.
and pretty. Matt, if you want to tip from that side towards me.
Can do.
All right.
Crushes him.
And then we'll just kind of
Just kind of roll it.
walk it along on its bottom edge.
All right.
Around the metal. Hang on a second.
Oh,
It'll get away from us. That's how we normally move them.
There it went.
Ready? Set. Go.
All right, and we'll set it in place when we're done. So the plan is we're gonna bring the gutters are gonna be on this side, and then what we're gonna do actually we're gonna bring the downspouts behind the building, down and out, and dump right on top of the building.
Near Austin. Okay. So this is the basket that'll screen the water as it falls into the tank from the downspouts. Beneath it is something called a light guard, and that's to keep light out of the tank so that algae won't grow.
And so every once in a while, you just go up there and dump that.
Yep.
Basically.
Or reach up there and
Easy.
pick it out.
So we need to leave the downspouts far enough away from it that we can
So
remove
they
get
it.
it
fall
out.
down into here. Okay. Yeah. Oh yes, and a few inches, just enough to do this.
Perfect.
And if it's just hand washing and that sort of stuff, the water's pretty clean. Yeah.
Cool.
It's amazing to travel to New Zealand and Australia and they go, "What's this UV thing we've been hearing about?" The dealers there are just looking like a revenue source because the people they're trying to teach them about UV, and here, we don't like to drink the water without some kind of treatment.
Yeah. Interesting.
Even though some people forget to change their bulb, and you go out and it's been 4 years since it was last treated, and they're fine.
They're alive.
Yeah.
Little
they're alive.
Giardia. Never hurt anybody.
Oh, they have very good immune systems.
And this is where the float will ride, I guess.
Yeah, the float will ride up and down on the side
You
here,
can see the. how much
and
is in there.
it has some numbers to keep track. And
I'm excited.
yeah,
I've
so
always
it'll take
wanted.
about hour and a half to hook everything up once we have power.
I've always wanted some rainwater collection. This is gonna be cool.
It's a good starter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little starter set.
That's right. That's how a lot of people get going with it, and then they taste it or they use it for washing, especially washing equipment and vehicles. It doesn't leave spots.
Really?
There's no dissolved solids in it. Well water you have to mess with to use it on a vehicle. So this will leave a nice shiny finish. Even with dishes, you can air dry them, and there aren't rings of powder left behind.
Yep. Hard water.
Yep.
So some states have laws against collecting rain. Is that true?
There are more regulations. Colorado was always the strictest, and they do now allow a limited amount of rainwater collection for certain people. That all goes back to their water rights laws we're talking 1800s. Because they set up the water rights for the rivers, the water all makes its way into the rivers from rainfall. And so even though the regulations go down to a very, very small level where really there's no difference whether you collect off your roof or not in most cases for the river water, those laws are still in effect. And over the years they've been modifying them. Like I said, Colorado's the one that I look at the most. They allow you 110 gallons. So that much that they'll allow you to collect off of a single family residence.
Wow.
So you would have to have water rights. So you'd have to have rights to collect that water. If you have a well or some other water right, sometimes you can collect rainwater.
So what happens if you collect more than that?
I don't think they're going to come get you, but
Just open the valve. If you see them coming, just open the valve.
well, you're allowed 2 55-gallon drums.
Yeah, just be that
That's
you
how
can't
they're-
have that many tanks. Is what it would be.
You're limited to 2 55-gallon tanks.
Oh, so you can't even have one of these.
So, any restrictions like that in Texas?
No, Texas actually promotes it.
Not even in big cities or anything?
Well, in big cities it might be regulated.
Gotcha.
And where we see it regulated sometimes is in housing developments.
Right.
They can't say you can't have a tank, but they can tell you what it should look like. And that's where it gets expensive.
Yeah.
We have a client who's burying their tanks. That's 5 times more expensive than putting an above ground tank. So most of our work is above ground.
And nothing will grow in this just because no light goes in there.
When we keep the light out, then that prevents
Majority
the
of the light.
algae that grow from sunlight. That's correct. There is still biologic activity in here. Some of it's beneficial. So we have a material on the inside, biofilm is the technical term. We call it tank slime. but you'll feel a slippery material on all the surfaces in here, and that's bacteria. Some studies show that that's actually beneficial for the water quality. It is in competition with anything hazardous that comes in. So
Gotcha.
sometimes E. coli can enter the tanks. It's consumed by the bacteria on the walls, or it's in competition for the nutrients.
Yeah, I guess you'd get that if like birds pooped on the roof and it washes right in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had some people comment on a video that we were wearing socks and our stinky feet were probably contaminating it. And I'm like, what about the buzzards sitting up on the roof?
Exactly.
They might be worse than our feet, so we wore clean socks. This is a Grundfos SBA pump. This is a submersible plug-and-play pump. So once it's in the tank and we get a source of power for it, as long as there's enough water to lift the float, this pump will turn on when the pressure drops. So if you open a hose bib, it'll run as long as there's flow going. So there's a little flow detector in here. Once that flow stops, it'll wait about 15 seconds and then it'll shut off the pump and wait for the next time it sees a pressure drop. So
that's cool.
We use these in houses. I've got compounds with like 3 or 4 houses that run off of one pump. So pretty capable unit.
It just lays down in the bottom of the tank?
It actually sits upright.
Oh, really?
Yep. And there's a pipe that comes out the top here. We lower this float to allow you to use the water all the way down.
Gotcha. So this thing turns off when it's like that, I guess?
Turns off.
And is on
that
when it's
turns
like
on.
that.
If for some reason this doesn't turn off, there are intelligent sensors in here that will detect that I'm sucking air and it will stop pumping. So it checks the current of the motor. So it's got a lot of overcurrent protections. We like to put the pumps in the bottom of the tank rather than building a little well house. People ask me, how do you access it? Again, there's a riser. We can pull it out through the roof quicker than we can disconnect a conventional pump, especially when it's buried in somebody's closet.
And
also,
it's
there's
like
no
quieter.
sound.
Yeah.
Very quiet.
Muffled by all the water. And
the generator will you'll never hear this running. When they do run, if you put your ear up to the tank, usually you can hear a hissing sound. And that's when you know that it's operating.
So cool.
So for power, that cord comes out the top or the bottom?
Come out the bottom.
Okay.
So that chase that I showed you, that'll come out the bottom.
Okay, so we'll put a plug on the outside.
There's this like a 10-meter cord. So
meter, what is that?
it's a 33.2 foot cord that'll reach out and you'll be able to plug it in further away, for testing.
Okay, perfect.